Hi, Last Week Nursery. My name's Dr. O'Donnell, and I'm an expert on the Romans in Britain. About 2,000 years ago, armies from the Roman Empire came to Britain, which they called Britannia. They wanted to claim more land for their growing empire. They had heard rumours that Britain was an island which had very rich resources like gold and silver and precious metals. The Roman army started to make its way further and further north, taking over towns and villages as they went and fighting with the local people. The leader of the Roman Empire was called the Emperor, and under the reign of Emperor Hadrian, the Romans decided to build a wall. The wall would go between the land that they had conquered to the south and the land that they hadn't conquered yet to the north. The wall represented the most northern part of the entire Roman Empire, which at that point covered almost the entire Mediterranean. This map shows you all the land which the Roman Empire controlled. The wall they built is called Hadrian's Wall, and it was built all the way from the east coast to the west coast of Britain. Today, 2,000 years later, the ruins of the wall can still be seen, but now they're much smaller than they would have been at the time. Here is a picture of how the wall looks now and how it might have looked 2,000 years ago. Soldiers lived in forts which were stationed along the wall, and some of these forts can still be visited today. By digging up these ancient forts, archaeologists like me can learn what life was like for the ancient Romans, what kind of food and drink they had, what jobs they did, and what clothes they wore. Here are some pictures of the fort at Housesteads. Some of the buildings here were the commanding officer's house, the bathhouse, and we even found a toilet block. After the Romans built Hadrian's Wall, they decided that they wanted to expand their empire even further north. So they decided to keep going and keep conquering people above Hadrian's Wall and into Scotland, which the Romans used to call Caledonia. Once they'd conquered more of Caledonia, they wanted to build another wall. This time, we call it the Antonine Wall, and that's because the emperor at that time was called Antoninus Pius. That wall runs all the way across Scotland from Edinburgh to Glasgow. And unlike Hadrian's Wall, which was built out of stone, the Antonine Wall is built out of turf, wood, and soil. Even though it was made out of wood, the Antonine Wall was still a very massive and very intimidating wall. I've got a picture here of Mr. Gavin when we went to see a reconstruction of the Antonine Wall that shows you just how big it really was. Here's another picture of a reconstruction of the Antonine Wall, which shows you what it would have looked like at the time. Unfortunately for the Romans, they weren't able to keep a hold of the land that they had conquered in Scotland, so they had to retreat back to Hadrian's Wall after a little while. One of the best ways we can learn about the daily life of Roman people is through the letters that they wrote. At one fort called Vindolanda, many letters have been found which give us a peek into their daily lives. Some of the letters talk about fighting with the local people. They talk about how they would fight without wearing armour and they would use spears. The Britons are unprotected by armour. They are very many cavalry. The cavalry do not use swords, nor do the wretched Britons mount in order to throw javelins. Other letters are from people to their friends and family, like this letter, which is from a lady inviting her friend to her birthday party. Claudia Severa to her Lepidina. Greetings. On 11th of September, sister, for the day of the celebration of my birthday, I give you a warm invitation to make sure that you come to us. to make the day more enjoyable for me by your arrival. Give my greetings to your husband. My husband and little son send him their greetings. These letters were written in ink on very thin slices of wood, which have been preserved underground for nearly 2,000 years. Here is a picture of what they look like now. The Romans wrote their letters in an ancient language called Latin. Experts were able to translate these letters into English so that we could read them today. Sometimes it can be hard to imagine what life was like 2,000 years ago, but it's an archaeologist's job to investigate and then teach other people what they've learned. I hope I've been able to help you understand the Romans better today. Thank you for listening. Bye bye!